Hello and welcome everyone to game one in a series, or I believe it's a series, between Nerchio versus Sjow here on Shattered Temple, and it looks like my colors are a little bit funky. Things are actually showing up in black as opposed to blue. Does it happen over here as well? Yes, things are showing up as black instead of blue, so I guess you'll just have to deal with it. It doesn't have that nice green outline. Not quite sure why. Anyways, we have Sjow spawning as the red Terran player here at what I'll call the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Nerchio spawning as the blue Zerg here at the 7 o'clock position. This is going to be close air spawns here on Shattered Temple. And we'll see what Nerchio tries to go for. Nerchio did go for fast expansions on Shattered Temple when it was a cross spawn, or I believe Metalopolis when it was a cross spawn. So we'll see if he goes for that same 14 hatchery or not. Meanwhile, back in the base of Sjow, we are going for supply depot, so it's going to be a pretty standard build. Not going for the supply depot next to that front door though, so that will be a little bit strange if Zerglings try to run by. We'll see also if Sjow moves over with one of those units. And oh, he did scout out the Terran player, but he's deciding not to continue with that Overlord. Instead, backing off and then coming around the side position here. One of the benefits for Shattered Temple for a Zerg player is that they can hide an Overlord here and be able to scout out and keep track of their opponent's gas. That is always a very, very important thing to do. As we now see Sjow going up for that refinery. Down over here, we are going for that hatchery on the low ground first. So hatchery first here on Shattered Temple as a drone. Now moving out in order to do some scouting. It will be able to come up that ramp in just a moment and take a look around, see the fast gas, and know that there will not be any sort of 12 double racks pressure at all, as that drone getting in some damage onto that SCV. SCV already down to 20 hit points and now running away. And SCV also moving out in order to do some scouting, as well as another Overlord continue to make its way out, as now the SCVs are finally battling back against this one particular drone. The drone only needs 2 more hits and he may actually be able to get off enough damage. Oh, and now finally some repairing happening, and now a Marine also coming over, and Nerchio may try to do the extractor block. It doesn't look like it. The Marine instead hanging around over here, trying to make sure that that drone does not move back out. He wants to keep the Marine, or now put pressure on the Marine, as he is now going into a factory. So we are going to go into reactor Hellions in just a moment, as this drone still wandering around. It looks like we may be getting another Marine out, and in order to chase away this one drone, we should be getting a reactor as well. As soon as we get 50 gas, there's that reactor that I mentioned just moments ago, as a Marine now tries to move out and tries to get some scouting in. It will quickly see that it is an expansion down over here, getting some damage onto the hatchery, but that's not going to really do anything. And now finally shooting at some of those drones, perhaps being able to force them to stop mining. And now 2 Zerglings should be able to focus and take down that Marine rather easily. A second Marine now trying to come over and offer some support. It looks like it will be able to get some damage in, and it looks like, oh, that one Zergling will get taken down as well, trading 100 minerals worth of Marines for 50 minerals of Zerglings. Not a good trade, but at least he was able to scout out his opponent. We are going into a command center here. The drone does see the reactor on this Hellion, or the reactor double training Hellions, and now a supply depot trying to be built. It looks like this, oh, the drone unable to get there in time, and now those Hellions will be able to torch up that drone rather easily, as we are now going into a command center. Command center about 2/3 of the way completed. Where is that SCV? SCV hiding underneath over there, and now finally overcome the Hellions, and down goes that drone. So 2 Hellions should be pushing out in just a moment. More Marines are going to be trained, so we're going to have 4 Hellions, but Spine Crawlers are already rooting into position in order to fend off this attack. 2 Hellions will not be able to handle the Zerglings here, and it looks like Nerchio will pretty much be able to handle this rather quickly. He doesn't have to worry all too much. These Hellions are not going to be able to run up the ramp. The Zerglings are already in position. The one Spine Crawler here can get damage onto that ramp there. So these Hellions are not gonna deal as much damage as he hopes. We are sitting on 25 drones compared to 23 SCVs, but we are upgrading to a second orbital command, so that is the one thing that's saving Sjow. If Sjow can force Nerchio to constantly produce more and more Zerglings and more army units, then Nerchio will not be able to power drone, and he's not going to have that strong economic advantage that he is looking for. Another Hellion, another 2 Hellions joining in on the fight. We are getting a bunker onto the low ground. Marines should be trained up there, and we are going into double factory, double reactor Hellion play. This is something I rarely ever see, as Sjow is still running off of 0 gas right now. He is not getting any gas at all. You can see that there are currently 7 Hellions here. The production tab showing 4 Hellions on the top left-hand side, as we should be getting another supply depot. The problem is that the Roach Warren is nearly completed. One poor Zergling will be able to just run into another 2 Hellions there, and now is the time to attack. Otherwise, those Roaches are going to be able to eat through all of those Hellions. You can see, I don't know what Show's waiting for. Show's waiting for a dozen or 10 Hellions, and now torching, getting a fair amount of damage onto those Queens already, and now just battling inside the mineral line, getting so much damage dealt across the board. You can see one of the Queens finally getting torched down, and Sjow getting in a large amount of damage with double reactor, double factory Hellions. The Roaches are finally battling to back out, and now these Hellions finally need a return. I think if he had pushed in just a moment earlier, just moments earlier, he would be in a much better situation, as he now is going into double factory, double tech lab, training up a lot of Marines. He should be able to get another barracks there. Is he going to build it? Yeah, he's going to build it and not land it, as he only has 1 barracks. But 9 Hellions getting off a decent number of worker kills. So 8 worker kills, 41 drones compared to 33 SCVs. We need to get some mules into play, as well as the Roaches may be able to shut down these Hellions. The Hellions need to run away. The Hellions finally able to run away there, but that is not looking good, as the Roaches may be able to simply push through on this front door. There's not enough Marines inside that bunker just quite yet. The Roaches are going to try to engage here. SCVs are coming off the mineral line in order to battle it out, and now the Roaches are getting torched rather quickly, going after SCVs, but the bunker getting in so much damage, and now the Hellions just going after more and more of those Roaches, and the Roaches were just completely like lambs to the slaughter, being sacrificed for the greater cause. But another unit was lost there. Total resources lost 1650 versus 1000. Total drone count 47 compared to 35. The mules were both destroyed, and that is going to be some hard going as well. We should be getting in some siege tanks, but we are now seeing Sjow currently supply blocked at 70 over 70, training up 1 siege tank, not getting siege tech yet for some strange reason, as the Roaches and Zerglings now pushing over to destroy these destructible rocks. And Overlord also suiciding its way in. A group of Marines quickly gonna destroy that. It looks like he is not going to be able to see how many factories there are truly, as we are now going into double evolution chambers for level 1, most likely level 1 missile upgrades and level 1 armor upgrades. Zerglings now looking to double expand, already taking out these rocks here for this hatchery, and now perhaps setting up destructible rocks here as well, or taking down those destructible rocks as well. The siege tanks out of siege mode do deal a fair amount of damage, but I can't imagine that he's going to try to push out without siege tech. That would be a rather strange maneuver there, as we can still see that Sjow is supply blocked at 86 over 86, not getting enough supply depots at a time. He is going to be supply blocked, or free once again, as the Roaches are now scampering away. The Hellions looking to try to torch and get some more damage in there, able to turn around, shut down 1 Hellion. And now Sjow battling it out here. A lot of Roaches engaging and catching Sjow completely off guard. Nerchio may simply be able to eat apart this army, and Nerchio playing absolutely brilliantly in this matchup on Shattered Temple. All the siege tanks now trying to return home. The Zerglings should be able to simply surround and take down. Oh, 1 siege tank now trying to move back over here. 1 group of Roaches able to shut it down. Another group of Zerglings able to shut that down. And yeah, this is not looking good at all. We are looking like an army of Zerglings and Roaches pushing in very, very quickly, very easily. Mass Roaches simply destroying the bunkers. Zerglings now having their way with SCVs. And now Marines trying to fight back against, but the supply depot is not raised up. The SCVs are attacking back and forth. There is 1 siege tank in that battle. A lot of SCVs are getting destroyed in this matchup here. And I believe it was really the issue of not having tanks. Nerchio just having a little bit too much scouting information and being able to macro up straight into Roaches right when he needed to, and completely outmassing Sjow. The siege tanks still don't have siege tech. It's still not being finally getting started now, but Sjow is going to have an uphill battle. The siege tanks are here. The siege tanks do have a decent range of 7, but an infestor joining in on the fight will be able to get off 1 fungal growth, 2 fungal growths maybe coming in. Now, as the siege tanks, maybe able to finish off one infestor down, 2 infestors down. There was 1 fungal growth, but the siege tanks will be able to finish off all of these Zerglings rather quickly as Sjow utilizes the high ground to maintain his army advantage. The production advantage, though, is going to completely tell a different story as we are now sitting on 65 drones, or will be sitting on 65 drones in just a moment. More siege tanks being trained, a command center, another command center being built as Sjow has marine tank and tries to move out. He will be able to move out, but he has to be very careful with this matchup. There are infestors in play. The infestors will be able to slow down this aggression as the destructible rocks are now getting cleared. The Zerglings hiding off over here looking, they are going to be able to catch some of those siege tanks, and now one Zergling quickly getting torn apart there as the Zerglings are now pushing down over here. No siege tanks up on the high ground. No surprise, the Sjow needs to siege up. Is he going to siege up in time? No, he is not. There's the fungal growth. The siege tanks unable to siege as a chain fungal growth dealing a lot of damage. SCVs need to be brought over in order to repair. Is it going to happen? Yeah, SCVs now being brought over to repair these siege tanks. As, once again, Nerchio going into almost 80 drones, now training up 11 of them, and he will be at 80 drones in just a second. Mass roaches in the center portion of the field. He has double evolution chambers, but I don't quite know. Oh, sorry, that was an infestation pit. So just getting the level 2 claw attack upgrades on those Zerglings. So the Zerglings getting destroyed rather quickly, but I think the level 1 armor upgrades would be better right now as the Zerglings would take 2 shots. We are now going into a Nidus network, so we may get a Nidus worm down over here. The supply depot is not far enough down in order to catch sight of this. So if we do get a Nidus worm, that is going to be a straight attack into the base of Sjow, as Sjow now trying to macro up. He does have stim, he does have combat shield. Siege tanks are slowly pushing their way forward, as you can now see Nerchio running off of, or will be running off of, 5 bases compared to 3 right now, making sure to stay up in terms of the mineral count. Siege tanks continuing to move out in order to get proper positioning. He needs to get a Raven, though, as we are now getting a Nidus worm down here. The Nidus worm is up. The Zerglings are now down over here, and the Sjow see, yes, he does see the creep. And are the units going to be able to return in time? The Marines are now trying to walk back up as quickly as possible. Zerglings need to start swarming into the field, as now a sea of Zerglings now just running straight in. There is 1 siege tank up on the high ground going after some of those critical buildings. A supply depot with a supply drop that will get taken down, and the Nidus worm, all of those units need to be retreated, or need to retreat, as Sjow does have a much larger army. Production tab shows a greater spire and corruptors, so this is a great transition offense from Nerchio, as he has gone from Zerglings into roaches and now straight into broodlords with corruptors, not even showing his hand or tipping his hands with Mutalisk at all, as the roaches now push their way through. Sjow able to stop that, draw a line in the sand against those roaches. The roaches do not have burrow, so they will not be able to regenerate those hit points that quickly either. We can take a look at the siege tanks. The siege tanks sitting at 3350 with 1475, but now we are getting broodlords, a half a dozen already being trained. A murder of broodlords will be coming out in just a moment. Now getting up that critical gas. Nerchio, 20 minutes into this game, and after a couple of engagements, already at 200 over 200 food, now going after another siege tank, able to destroy that, as overlords constantly being sacrificed. That is most likely just a misplay there, accidentally rallying out his units. You can see, taking a look at the unit count now, 6 broodlords, 6 corruptors, a couple of infestors, and Zerglings. We're sitting on 91 drones, so Nerchio playing a very macro-heavy style, and now in come the broodlings. Broodlings now raining down from the sky. The broodlings do have 2-0 upgrades, and if I did not mention that earlier, 2-0 upgrades alongside those Zerglings, as the corruptors, or sorry, the infestors able to get off 1 fungal growth. Another fungal growth could be coming in. Corruptors now dishing out the damage against those Vikings. The Vikings cannot kite corruptors, as corruptors actually move more quickly. And now in comes the very strong counterattack. The Broodlords bringing up the rear. Another Viking getting destroyed as the Broodlords are going to take down the sensor tower and perhaps this third base in just a moment. Broodlings going to start demolishing this orbital command. You can see how much damage is being dealt just by the sheer number of Broodlings surrounding this location here. Marines are now trying to push in. It looks like one Broodlord will get taken down, but the Roaches and the Zerglings finishing off the rest of the battle. And I believe Sjow will have to say GG. So a brilliantly played game by Nerchio here on Shattered Temple. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for another game here on another game casted by me. It will be Sjow versus Nerchio, and hopefully Sjow has learned a thing or two in this matchup and will be able to counter Nerchio.